Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lecture Notes. So today I'll be explaining chapter 10 of the novel Arjun, which is written by Sunil Gangopadhyay. So in the last chapter, you have seen that how Labanya was trying to fight Divya physically and she was very much injured. She was taken by two people forcefully into the plywood factory where Divya was saying her that you need to marry Sukain and that's my order, and she started to rebel and eventually they had a physical fight. So now it's the next day and it's the day of her examination. So on the day of her chemistry examination, Lavanya fainted away in the hall. She suddenly stopped writing, put her elbows on the table and covered her face. As soon as somebody touched her, she just fainted dead away. She had not said anything to her family at home, had not shed a single tear except during the examination, that too because she could not remember the answer. She never cried after that. सो व्हेन शी वाज ब्रूटली इंजर्ड ऑल्सो, तो उसने किसी को कुछ नहीं बताया, ना वो रोई, बट एग्जामिनेशन में रो पड़ी बिकॉज आफ्टर आफ्टर द सो मच टॉर्चर और जो भी उसके दिमाग में चीजें थी, उसको कोई भी आंसर्स नहीं आ रहे थे और उसको वो सोच के हो रहा था कि एक साल और मेरा रह जाएगा, and she had planned such a bright future for herself, but because of that incident, that brutal incident, she has to wait for another year. It was not possible for her to take the rest of the exams. The BSc exam that she had set her heart on passing remained incomplete this time too. The next few days, she suffered from very high fever and constant delirium, and all of that delirium centered on death. Once she recovered from this bout of illness, Labanya relapsed into total silence as if she had suddenly lost her speech. Not a word did she had for anybody. तो बिकॉज ऑफ द शॉक शी हैड हाई फीवर, उसके बाद उससे अजीब अजीब सी चीजें दिखने लग गई विच सेंटर्ड अराउंड डेथ. एंड आफ्टर दैट जब उसका फीवर उतरा तो वो बिल्कुल चुप हो गई, वो किसी से भी कोई भी बात नहीं करती थी. सो अर्जुन वेंट टू विजिट हर ट्वाइस बट शी कुड नॉट स्पीक टू हिम. Arjun had told Vishwanath that he was prepared to take Labanya for consultation to Abnish's father. But it was Labanya who refused to go. She was adamant. She kept on looking at Arjun with bumming and grieving eyes, as if it was Arjun who had done her some grievous wrong. So now the family, Viswanath family, they were thinking that what should they do? An insane daughter was total burden. So they thought of getting her married to somebody. So poor family burdened with an insane daughter for the rest of their life. So they started making all possible efforts to arrange a marriage for her. Arjun felt really depressed about Lavanya. The girl had wanted to be good, to rise above the surroundings, and she had failed. तो अर्जुन को बुरा लग रहा था कि she had dreams, while on the other hand the people wanted to live in the same area. They did not wanted to achieve anything. On the other hand, Lavanya was very passionate about her education and wanted to get rise above these surroundings. Meanwhile, the people in the colony got embroiled in frequent arguments over whether accepting Keval Singh's proposal or not. The sons of household living outside their territory were prepared to override all objections in the hope of getting jobs in the factory. Nothing seemed sweeter to their ears than the assurance of job. तो अब जो दिक्कत थी, कॉलोनी वाले फ्रीक्वेंट आर्ग्यूमेंट्स और फाइट में हो जाते थे कि केवल सिंह का प्रपोजल एक्सेप्ट करना है या नहीं, क्योंकि जो इस टेरिटरी के बाहर के लोग भी थे वो उनको प्रेशर डाल रहे थे कि तुम्हें एक्सेप्ट कर लेना चाहिए क्योंकि उन्हें भी जॉब्स की नीड थी. What hurt him is referred here to Arjun, most was the fact that the unity among the members of the colony had been destroyed. Even grandfather Nashi, whose wisdom had been generally relied upon, was unwilling to go against Dibya any longer. Arjun had stopped going to visit Shukla's room when he was over at Abnish. He felt he just could not fit into the carefree, happy world inhabited by Shukla. The people with whom he had spent all these years were confronted by the ultimate crisis, and yet he, Arjun, could not do anything. तो अर्जुन को भी किसी चीज में उसको बुरा लगने लग गया. ही वॉज सो मच डिसअपॉइंटेड कि कोई भी अब यूनिटी और स्ट्रेंथ में बिलीव नहीं कर रहा. धीरे धीरे करके सब अर्जुन के अगेंस्ट होते जा रहे हैं, एंड ऑल दे वांटेड टू डू वाज set those five families free from that area with a sum of amount which will be given टू देम बाय केवल सिंह, की वो जगह वो खाली कर दे 5 फैमिलीज और वहां पे एक्सटेंड होके फैक्ट्री बने. तो सब इस चीज के लिए इकट्ठे होते जा रहे थे, एंड देवर ओनली फ्यू पीपल लेफ्ट हु बिलीव कि नहीं, वो जगह नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए। तो अर्जुन को काफी डिसअपॉइंटेड और होपलेस फील हो रहा था, उसको शुक्ला के रूम में भी जाना पसंद नहीं आ रहा था, बिकॉज ही फेल्ट दैट दैट वर्ल्ड वॉज completely different from his. So he was in a dejected state of mind, and he was not liking the colony surrounding as well as the atmosphere of Shukla also. I have a friend, he said, in the refugee rehabilitation department. So this is said by Abnishta. He's trying to help. He's saying, you can use my power. I'm writing a letter to the head of the refugee rehabilitation department, and they might help you. He's probably the deputy director now. Why don't you go and see him? Just in case it helps. But the visit was entirely fruitless. Mr. Chakrabarti of refugee rehabilitation was a pakka sahib. He hardly spoke anything but English. Abneesh had told him all about Arjun in his letter of introduction, so since this was an academic person, there was no point in showing off his high command over English. तो यहाँ पे भी एक इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज की सुपीरियोरिटी दिखाई गई है. The head of the refugee rehabilitation department felt he was very much senior because he had a command over English. पर अर्जुन के सामने वो इंग्लिश नहीं बोलता because उसको पता है that he is such an academic scholar in English, so there is no point. Then Mr. Chakrabarti gave Arjun tea as well, and in the course of the conversation, even raised the subject of the war in Vietnam. Why should he let slip the opportunity to show off the range of his knowledge to the boy who had stood first in the MSc examinations? Not only that, he was also informed Arjun of his friends and relatives who had done well in the university at some time or other. At last, the file came. Mr. Chakrabarti frowned. Oh, yes, another unauthorized colony. Negotiations are still going on with the landlord. As soon as the matter of the compensation can be finalized, I assure you, it won't take much longer. तो वो अपनी सुपीरियोरिटी इंग्लिश के थ्रू नहीं दिखा सकता था, तो वो सिर्फ ये दिखा रहा था कि मुझे कितनी नॉलेज है अबाउट द वर्ल्ड, एज वेल एज यूज टेलिंग कि सिर्फ तुम एजुकेटेड नहीं हो, मेरी फैमिली और फ्रेंड्स में बहुत लोग हैं जो यूनिवर्सिटी गए हुए हैं. एंड देन ही सेज दैट देर आर मेनी कॉलोनीज सेट अप लाइक दिस, एंड इट विल टेक टाइम, नॉट मच लॉन्गर, बट आई श्योर यू कि चीजें धीरे धीरे उनको लीगली वहां पे सेटअप कर दिया जाएगा. And finally, his final suggestion was before leaving, he said, before Arjun was leaving, he said, but why don't you try to persuade the other members of your colony to migrate to Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan? If only they agree, I'll make all the arrangements. The refugees of Bengal should make every effort to occupy as much as land as possible in the provinces. तो एंड में बोलता है कि तुम अपनी कॉलोनी वाले को बोलो कि मध्य प्रदेश और राजस्थान में सेटल हो जाएं, क्योंकि जो पंजाबी लोग हैं वो यही कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे लोग छोटी छोटी जमीनों पे लड़ रहे हैं. ऑन द अदर हैंड पंजाबी लोग जाके अलग अलग जगह बड़ी बड़ी जगहों पे सेटल हो रहे हैं कि वहां पे लड़ने के लिए कोई है ही नहीं, और यहाँ बंगालीज छोटी छोटी जगहों पे लड़ लड़ के उस लड़के उन्हें छोटी जगह ही मिल रही है. Look what's good is it, fighting like dogs over a small portion of land here. In the end, it comes down to Bengalis depriving other Bengalis. Look at all these businessmen from the provinces of India. They're buying up all the good land available. So he's telling कि एक बंगाली दूसरे बंगाली से लड़ रहा है एक छोटी सी लैंड के लिए, एक डॉग फाइट कर रहे हैं बेसिकली, बट दे शुड थिंक अबाउट द प्रॉफिट. जहां पे लोग कम है वहां जाके सेटल हो जाना चाहिए. सो अर्जुन फेल्ट लाइक द ब्रेकिंग इन एंड सेइंग, सपोज यू वर आस्क्ड टू लीव योर होम इन कोलकाता and go and cultivate in the land and the jungles of Madhya Pradesh, would you go? If not, then why are you making all these big speeches? So अर्जुन का कहने का मन था ये, but he did not say it. He wanted to say कि will you do it, that leave your land in Kolkata and go into some other jungles and cultivate land there? So after coming home, he was again disappointed and dejected. Arjun told his mother, he said, let's go away from this colony. I just don't like it here anymore. And his mother said, well, if you are really think that's the best idea, then we shall go. But don't do anything on the moment's impulse. So in this entire chapter, you will see what are the conditions of Lavanya, that how she's in a complete state of shock, and on the other hand, how Arjun is disappointed and hopeless from both his surroundings, his colony people, that they are not showing any unity, as well as he feels that he is not the part of Shukla's world, which is a happy, carefree world, because he need to work hard and earn his living and leave the clutches of poverty. So thank you for watching this video. In the next chapter, I'll be explaining chapter